What's up, everybody? Alex here, and I'm going to talk about difficult people today. Now, I know that many of us may have what we define as difficult people in our lives, whether it's other family members or difficult bosses or difficult colleagues or difficult friends even, and it could very well be people that you love and that you even admire and that kind of stuff. There are pros and cons to the relationship, but at the same time they can be difficult and they can cause you stress and frustration and perhaps resentment. Maybe you've been with this person for many years and you've sort of bottled up all of this emotional energy around this person. So within the scope of about 10 minutes, I'm going to see what I can do to share with you based on what I know has helped me. Now, first of all, looking at the idea of difficult people, we have to be aware of the idea that this is a label that we've put on somebody else. We have labeled this other person as difficult. We have put a judgment on somebody else. So that's worth acknowledging in and of itself. Because as I have frequently emphasized, and I have to continually remind myself, is that beyond the labels we put on things, what is there? Beyond labels, beneath the layers of judgmental, opinionated, subjective thoughts that we put on other people, on things, on experiences, on events. This is bad, this sucks, this is great. Beautiful view, ugly view. It's all subjective opinions. And that's really, really worth understanding. Because underneath it all, we're dealing with something that's free of judgment. Something that hasn't got our thoughts applied to it. We as humans have very cleverly applied all kinds of labels and ideas and thoughts and opinions and layers upon layers upon layers of ideas onto things. So this includes other people. So when we talk about there being difficult people in our lives, we need to be able to make the distinction that there is, on one side, a person that you have labeled as difficult and annoying and frustrating, but on the other side, there's the same person who is free of all the labels that you've put on them. And when that person is free of labels, what does that do to you? It's like if there's no thought around that person, if there's no aggressive, resentful, negative thought, if you were able to just go boop, deleted that thought about that person, deleted the bundle of thoughts about that person, do you feel that there's a shift? The other person is who they are, but you are now free of judgment. You might think, as I did for many, many years, that putting a harsh judgment on somebody feels good. It's like, oh, he's an idiot. These guys are all idiots. These guys are fools. They don't know what they're doing. We fall for the lie, unfortunately, guys, that judging other people somehow makes the situation better. It somehow makes us feel better, and it even feels like that sometimes. It's like I have to admit, there is a little bounce of joy, a little bounce. It's not really true joy. It's a kind of an emotional hit that comes from putting somebody else down, but it's a very ultimately soulless, unnourishing move on our behalf in an attempt to make us feel better. This is why you get trolls. This is why you get people who want to put others down, because it's a reflection of their own insecurity and their own unhelpful thinking about what's actually going on. So what I want to do, just having that as a kind of foundational idea, is that when we judge and when we exert aggression and resistance on somebody else, when we push somebody else away and we say they don't know what they're doing, they have no idea, they don't understand me, they are stupid, Guess who is suffering? It's you, my friend. Your judgment is coloring your own emotional experience. If you judge, you're only emphasizing the resistance you feel to that person. And when there is resistance, in the form of a thought, a mental image, you feel the pain, you feel the anger, you feel the frustration. And when we're frustrated, sorry about the wind, guys, I like coming out here because it helps me kind of think clearly. When we are frustrated, when we're in judgment, when we're angry about somebody else, we are our least creative, our least happy, our least joyful, our least in flow, our least intelligent. I believe our IQ actually drops when we are experiencing judgment and resistance of other. Sorry, really, this wind is tricky. I'm resisting the wind. Let's see how we go a little bit more. So that's really important to know. Like, you are not helping anyone. You're not helping yourself when you're in judgment. So I'm giving you permission right now, because we think that there's something valid to criticizing others, because it feels like we're lifting ourselves up. How about thinking of it this way? We don't need to do that. We don't need to hold a judgment in our minds, and we don't need to actively judge and actively speak our judgments on other people. I feel like I'm being chased by a kind of a spout of wind. So that's that. We don't need to judge. And when I realised that I don't need to judge family members, friends, bosses, clients, I feel relief, because I'm no longer the judger. I'm no longer in resistance. Simply by allowing that thought to be let go of, if I don't hold the thought that that person's an idiot, if I can just let it go, I feel good. I feel a lot better. I feel something opening up. I feel my chest opening up. I feel my heart opening up. And this is where the key lies. And I'm about to drop some serious truth on you, so hold on. Painful truth, perhaps, for some. If you have difficult people in your lives, if you have a difficult person in your life who has been causing you stress, seemingly, I want to ask you this: where are you lacking compassion for that other person? No matter what they've done, no matter how ugly the things that they've done to other people are, I want to ask you, where is the compassion lacking for that person? Now, hear me out. This doesn't mean I'm going to ask you, this doesn't mean that I want you guys and I want me to go out there and be extra nice to people, or be extra kind of forced compassionate to those people, because it's just another variation of resistance. What I'm saying is that rather than trying to force ourselves to be compassionate and to kind of like think happy thoughts and to be extra uber smiley, is to not judge. Just let go of the need, the egoic need to judge. And what that leads to is pure presence. That opens you up, opens your heart. You're not actively opening anything, you are just not closing. You're not closing to that person. We're approaching the 10-minute mark. See what you can do when you next come across this person who's been causing you strain and stress. See if you can just be present, be conscious with that person. Listen to what they're saying. Give them space. Don't rush off into thoughts about that person. Don't have heavy thoughts about that person. Don't be in another place rolling your eyes when that person is with you. Give them the benefit of the doubt, I would say, for now. Give them your presence. Because in presence, as I've said, in the silence of a still mind, you will have compassion sprouting out of that space. Your real, true humanitarian, shall we say, self, that self that understands the connection between all of us, the positive beauty of connection that we have, no matter how on the surface ugly things might have looked. When you stop closing and you stop judging, you'll find yourself automatically finding things to be compassionate about in that other person. You'll start to see the humanity in the situation. You'll start to understand things you might have not considered because you have given your mind some space to still. So you may, like for example, you might have a compassionate idea come up that says, well, maybe they're in their own stress, maybe they have their own problems, maybe they have their own insecurities, that they're just they are just what's the word, projecting onto me. Maybe it isn't about me so much. Maybe the fact that I have been resisting them and calling them difficult for so many years has created their own resistance in me. And of course, when you're looking at it that way, it becomes a kind of endless loop, and you end up both resisting each other for years on end and nothing comes of it. How's that been working out for you? Continual resistance doesn't help. Be the one who takes the first step and realize that perhaps up until this point you have not been connecting with your full compassion as much as you could have done. And no matter how difficult this person is, no matter how much resentment you've built up for this person, see if you can let go to the heavy thinking you have about this person. Open up, take the noble move, take the compassionate move, take the connected, soulful, nourishing route of just being open to non-judgment. Let the compassion rise out of you, and you'll see something shift in the other person. They'll notice your presence. They'll notice your attentiveness. They'll notice you're listening. And you will find that they will start to ease up ever so slightly. And over time, the more presence you can bring to this other person, the more compassion, the more understanding, the more silence of mind you can bring, the more this relationship will flourish. I guarantee it. I did say 10 minutes, so I'm not going to go on much longer. I appreciate you guys hanging with me here if you've been through the entire video. It's been a bit distracting with the wind and nearly dying on the slopes here. But I hope that was helpful. It's certainly helped me. I'm going to be talking about this a lot more in other videos. Make sure you subscribed to hear more. Do like this video if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.